My love for Hawaii started over 35 years ago when I came to Oahu and Maui with my husband on our honeymoon. It was easy to fall in love with the landscapes, sunsets, and friendly people. I was fortunate to have many return trips over the years as an assistant to Hitomi Gilliam when she would travel here for her design programs. In more recent years, I returned to help with Hawaiian celebrations, which would always include amazing tours of flower farms, including Pacific, Floral Exchange, and Greenpoint Nurseries. This was all organized by the Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association. The growers and Hefna show so much pride in what they do, and as designers, we are very grateful to have their beautiful flowers to design with. Opening a box of Hawaiian flowers is like opening presents on Christmas morning. I'm excited by the colors, textures, and varieties. Each flower makes a statement. Tropical flowers are an amazing addition to our wedding repertoire. I get excited for the bride that come into the shop looking for something unique that complements her style. She wants modern and dramatic. Hawaiian flowers easily fit the bill. As I sit down for our consultation, I use the Neotropica guide to show her flowers, and we come to the conclusion that to showcase the flowers and her style the best, I will create a wedding centerpiece with a structure. What is a structure? A structure is a support system for the flowers. In this case, I want the structure to be exposed, enhancing the beauty of select blooms. As you can see, I like to design in clear glass. I like using it just because it's readily available, is cost effective, and I have the option of not using foam. The supplies we're going to need are very simple. 18 gauge wire, wooden dowels, U-glue dashes, and rubber bands, and then some raffia just to cover the rubber bands. Equisetum will be added for texture and interest. So let's start to build this structure. I've already started, and to keep the equisetum nice and straight and give support, I've inserted the 18 gauge wire up the stem of the equisetum. The dowels have been cut and attached to the glass with some U-glue dashes. I've also done the same with the equisetum. And they've all been inserted into double rubber bands. That just keeps everything in place until we're ready, until we finish with the raffia at the end. I like to use hala as part of the mechanics, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert it in here because it adds that beautiful green and yellow that I'm looking for in the centerpiece, and I'm just going to gently bend it in, and that'll just stay there just like that. And then I'm going to grab some of these beautiful Oncidium orchids. They're gorgeous, nice and full and great stem length on there. Perfect for creating centerpieces. Let's grab one out of here. Let's just give that a little bit of a trim. And I'm just going to start to build. The centerpiece is seen all around, so you want to make sure that you work that way, that there's something intriguing to look at from all angles. Let's just add another one on the other side, just to balance it off a bit. These are so beautiful. Now how about, let's get this beautiful anthurium in there. Look at it, gorgeous. I'm just gonna add this to the front. Now I am facing the front of the design, so I will kind of turn it around a little bit and show you in a minute. And this beautiful foliage that I think this is, what is this called, Hitomi?
Curly Luai.
Curly Luai is so pretty too. Another added texture. And I'm just going to add that in there. So let's just start, turn it around, just show you just the start of it. And we've got more flowering to do. Design is now completed with all the gorgeous flowers from Hawaii in the cylinder. I've covered up my mechanics of the rubber bands with a little bit of raffia just to tie everything together. Now it's nice and neat. The water is exposed. You can see it's nice and clean, and it's a great way to use your cylinders. Cost effective and a great way to showcase the flowers. Now, if the budget allowed, instead of having one centerpiece, how about two? Let's just move this one out of the way, and I'll bring the other one out. They can work as a pair or by themselves. So much beautiful product to show. I think any bride would be happy with this. Now that you know how to build a simple structure, let me show you how to apply it to a hand-tied bridal bouquet. What we'll need is paddle wire. The paddle wire gauge I use is 22 gauge. And we will need some wire cutters. And we're going to build the structure with equisetum. So I'll demonstrate. You're going to take a length of paddle wire to whatever length you need to complete your structure. And I'm just going to demonstrate with just the shorter piece here. We're going to bend the wire in half. Now you have two ends. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to take my equisetum and I'm going to cut it into sections, probably by about, I would say about 5 inches, 5-inch sections. And I'll just take 2 at a time, and let's cut them into sections. I just eyeball it, and I'm just going to cut a few sections here. I like to roll all over the table. Okay, so we've got the wire bent in half, and then now I'm just easily thread the equisetum sections through the wires. And we just pierce it through. I keep towards the center of the equisetum because we're going to be trimming the sides later, because we want a nice tapered and clean look to the structure. And I'm just going to pull that all the way down so it meets the end there, and I'm just going to continue doing this. So let me do a few more for you. Simply inserting one end and then the other, and I will do a few at a time before I bring it all the way down to the bottom again. 1 and 2. Now let's just string these along here. Just like this. I'll do 2 more so you get an idea. 1, 2. So you will create this as long as you want. The one I created was quite long. It probably ended up to be at least almost 3 feet long. You can make it to whatever length you like. So that's the start of our structure. So I'm just going to continue adding equisetum to the fence to make it as long as I like. Once I get to the end, I'm going to take the wires and bend them back into the equisetum. So that's how I'm going to finish it off. I'm just going to quickly do that. Tuck that back in there. I'll do the same for this side. Just push those ends in. All right. Now this is to demonstrate the fencing. And we're going to go in and just trim the sides a bit because we want it nice and neat. I'd like to create more of a taper at one point. So I'm just going to angle that a bit and just trim some of these ends off. I'm just making it a little bit neater. So I'm going to do this on both sides, just with my pruners, just to trim it up a bit. So if this was the other end that I was going to finish with, I would also make that a taper part as well. Let's go to the other side. And let's just finish this off. Keep trimming as I go here. And we go to the taper end. So this is how it would look like. Now let's show you the finished design. I still do have to add a few stems to this, but you can see the structure right here in this part. And it goes all the way around the bouquet. Let me just set this over here. So you can, it's very visible. Because of the length of this structure, I actually added a spine to it, and that's just taping 18 gauge wire with some tape, and then I fixed it to the structure with a little bit of bind wire. So let me just finish this off for you. I'm just going to add a few more of the Oncidium orchids. I'm just going to add that into the center, the binding point. Now you notice I do have another fencing in there. So I've actually created 2 fencings for this bouquet to create that drama the bride was looking for. I'm just going to add that in there. And I'll just bind it off with a little bit more bind wire. It is created in the spiral method, so the binding point is nice and tight, and the spiral helps everything to space out nicely, and it's easy for the bride to hold. So let's just get that on there. And I'm just going to trim. So the structure extends in the front, and it goes all the way around the bouquet. With the long extension, you can see the spine that I've created, and I've just covered it up with a little bit of the lily grass to cover my mechanics so it's nice and clean. What I love about this is that there's a lot of interest, there's lots of depth. You can see into the bouquet, and every little area is something different and intriguing. And with Hawaiian product, it's so easy to create that with these beautiful flowers. I wish to extend a warm thank you to the Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association for inviting me to be part of this virtual conference. It was an honor and a great pleasure, and I look forward to the opportunity to work together again. Aloha!